Okay, this is a random live. We'll see if anyone joins in the middle of the day. Hi. I felt so bad yesterday about like I couldn't answer everyone's questions because I was short on time. So I decided to do a second short live. It's not going to be too long, but yeah. I did. I did cover all my trucks, although it costs me blood, sweat, and tears today because we're in the West Coast for the most part. So, yeah, it was not easy. Hi, Vadim. Hi. Yes, you were first. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I wish I had more to release in terms of videos, but it seems like there are nothing new coming out. It's always about English proficiency, CDLs, English proficiency, CDLs, and I feel like we have exhausted that topic. So I'm just waiting for something new to happen in this industry, something interesting. Nothing is happening yet. How's the market today? Well, here's what I noticed. So, the hardest market today for me was the West Coast, specifically the Pacific Northwest, which I promised myself always I'm not going to send any trucks there, but somehow we always end up there. Something I have noticed though, which is really, really interesting, is that brokers are not raising their rates at all there, but no one is looking at their loads. They cannot sell their loads. So it's like there are no trucks. Really, it feels like there are no trucks there, but brokers are not raising their rates. At the same time, I know there are places in the Pacific Northwest and in the Rockies where I can't even point the finger at brokers. It's the shippers because I know of a couple of direct shippers there and they are so set on their rate and their rates are so bad, they will not pay more than what they offer. So, quite interesting, an interesting little pattern. What are we going to talk about today? Well, actually, I'd love to hear from you guys. How are you? What are you seeing in the market? Because after all, I don't have trucks in every state. I wish I did, but not quite there yet. I'm curious to see what you are, or to hear what you are seeing in the market, simply because I have heard that after Blitz Week, a good amount of capacity actually left. And something we're also going to see is that week over week, for the first time in like 2 months, we're seeing a net decrease in MC numbers. So very curious. See, there's Brandon who says it's terrible out here. Got it. Hi, BTC trucker. You're dry van. Got it. Yeah, we're flatbed. Hi, Arthur. Hi, Drago. Excuse me. Broker transparency. Yeah, you know what? I saw an article saying whatever happened to broker transparency. No one knows what is going on there. Yeah, it's like the FMCSA kind of went silent on it, even though during the comment period, a lot of people reached out. So it's a wait and see moment. Okay, that's to someone else. Sorry. Thank you for joining. Hey, I'm just learning like you guys are. I just happen to have a YouTube channel where I talk about what I have learned that day. um, well, they're putting driver back in the driver's seat for autonomous driving. Yeah, I heard that. What is it, Aurora? They were putting a driver back. Mariupol has so many new apartment buildings built, hospitals, and new roads are so smooth. Really? Yeah, the last time I checked, something you guys don't know is that when there was a moment where no one understood what was happening to me on this channel, I don't even know if it's right to share this. So one of my family members was there in the heat of it. Thank God she's okay. Yeah. Nope, dispatching as well. Okay, that was not for me. They got used to paying the cheap freight. It worked for them for the past 4 years. You know what, Barry? I agree with you. That's what it seems like. Although in one of the places, I know that it's the shipper because the shipper is there. They're just gung ho about keeping the rates as they are. So it's not quite the brokers there. But yeah, in general, in the Pacific Northwest, I would say it's very interesting. There are some loads and there are no views on those loads at all. Because on Truck Stop, you can see how many people looked at a load. It's really, really interesting. I'm good, learning every day. How are you? Hi, can you say, oh my God. I wish I could. I don't know how to pronounce that. Hold on. Galatasaray. Galatasaray. Champion Galatasaray is the best. North Carolina is brutal. Yikes. The market is that bad, really? Big, beautiful bill passing through house. I did hear something about that. Honestly, I haven't had time. I'm like all about trucking news, obviously. So I don't really have time to dive into actual news of what's going on around. I'm kind of living under a rock, but I have heard that. Drive-in owner out here in South Carolina. How's the market there, Eric? I left this, oops, I left the spot market and took my truck to JB Hunt. Got it. Is it better now? Like, is it easier than the spot market? I can imagine it would be. Drive in out of Florida, $2 today. Not many trucks down here. Interesting. Yeah, for Florida, $2 per mile is actually not bad for Florida, and especially for drive in, which is suffering. But again, we're going to look at the market update on Thursday. Yeah, it's interesting. Drive ins and reefers, the increase that they saw last week is quite significant. Funny enough, flatbed saw a decrease, even though I saw that no, the rates were pretty good in certain areas. Good afternoon, Miranda. Tracy from Sunset Coast Dispatching, third-party dispatcher here. Hi, Tracy. I'm power only. If you ever need a trailer delivered out of the South Texas area, San Antonio, hit me up. Everyone, Barry has a power only. Rates are okay in my area. That's good to hear. Yeah, it seems like something interesting is going on. I don't know. It's not the same like stale market anymore. Even though the rates I can't say are amazing, they're not, far from it, but something is happening. It's like a feeling. I don't know. How long do you think it will take for the prices to go up after the English language enforcement? Interesting question. I think like yesterday we were talking, considering the fact that at that same time is when ships from China are supposed to be hitting the West Coast and the volume should theoretically increase. I think June, July, and the fact that it's produce season and that seasonality is expected to be more or less closer to normal this year. I think the summer is going to be interesting. June, July, August. I got a $3 per mile out of the house in North Carolina. Just had to his broker's arm for $2 per mile from Wisconsin to Fort Worth. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, I'm curious how the Midwest is right now for flats. Greetings, everyone from Houston, Texas, in the house. Hi there. What is your best advice for this current market? OTR, regional, or local? I'm in the Midwest. What range should I stay at for RPM? So depending on your equipment type, the best rate per mile, like for flatbeds, for example, is going to be the Midwest and the South. But you have to always consider the gross as well, because that is very important if you have fixed expenses, especially if they're not like little, right? So, but Midwest and the South is where we try to run throughout the week as a flatbed carrier because the rate per mile is good and the gross is usually okay as well. The problem always comes with the weekends, right? That's where you either lose money or you kind of break even in terms of the gross income. Yeah, the weekends are always the toughest for us. So it depends. What equipment type do you have? Reefer out of Florida to Ohio for $295. Nice. That is amazing. Out of Florida. Yeah, I've been hearing that for Florida, reefers are doing pretty good. Um, just seen the AV in Houston, Texas today. Saturday pickup. Those are always fun. The Saturday pickups when you manage to like I love when that happens. When I think that's it, I lost the weekend and I managed to find a load on a Saturday or Sunday, especially for flatbed. It's like, yes, I won the lottery. Sunset Coast Dispatching here from Roseville, California, near Sacramento. Hi, Tracy. Thank you, Louis. Louis or Luis. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support and thank you for joining today. Um, y'all have to let those loads sit on the board for a while. Yeah, for sure. We had to deadhead out. So today I did cover my guys that were in the uh, West Coast, but they're deadheading a good amount, like 400 miles. Yeah. Because the rates are like $1.49, $1.50 with 0 views. They keep getting reposted, and I do call on them sometimes just to find out, is this an actual load? No, sure as hell they have that load. No one is taking it, no one's looking at it, and they refuse to increase their price. So in those situations, you just deadhead out and get something that more or less covers that deadhead. Booked 270 in Texas. Market this week seems to be at least fine. Yay. That's what I would expect because Texas in general has the most loads on the spot market for dry vans, reefers, and flatbeds. So it seems like, if I'm not mistaken, if what they say is true, capacity did kind of not, I don't know if it went away, but it just decreased maybe a little bit. Misery. Step deck in Kentucky, loaded next to 3 foreigners. Nothing's going to change. Been out here 18 years. It was a waste. Time to quit and salvage what's left of life. I'm sorry, tapeworm. Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen come June. I'm curious to see what that does to the market. Again, like I said yesterday, I'm just curious how it will all work. Negotiations are rough. Most brokers don't budge. Yeah. Yeah, negotiations are rough. It's interesting. Again, like I said, it's interesting how rough negotiations are even when they don't really have a choice. uh yeah, any insights, right? Hi, Ron. Good to see you. Virginia is the worst state for trucking last 5 years. Virginia, we haven't been to in a while, but we have been to West Virginia recently. Oh my God, that was a disaster. The roads there are horrible. And we lost a whole day because what seems to be like a 150-mile deadhead is going to take you a crap ton of time to do because all the roads are winding. Yeah, never again, or not for the near future. Did you check about transferring MC and DOT? You have to remind me. Was it an email you sent me? Sorry, I live under a rock right now. Everything is mixed together. Yeah, sorry, Ron. Hi, Ken. Good to see you. Are there any complicated legalities that come with using direct shippers? That is a great question. I've never come across any. The direct shippers that I used, it was pretty straightforward. Very often what I noticed is they don't even know how to set up a carrier, at least the ones that I worked with. They actually asked me, well, what do we need from you? I'm like, well, you need my authority, you need my certificate of insurance, you need what is it called, my W-9, and I send that to them. But I have never had any issues of legality. The hardest part with direct shippers is if you're someone who relies very heavily on factoring, direct shippers will rarely. There's some do, but there is no real factoring the way we know. There is some, I'm sure, but not like RTS and stuff unless they explicitly use RTS. That's the hardest part. Actually posted a load on my load board, which ultimately goes over to multiple load boards, and no one took the freight. It came from Virginia all the way going to Olympic Washington's. It was a flatbed. You know what, Walter? I can understand that because it's the beginning of the week. And the Pacific Northwest is a market that not a lot of flatbeds want to go to simply because they can't get out of there for a decent rate. Uh, Usually it's at the end of the week when you have more luck with those loads, but most flatbeds, from what I have noticed, at least, okay, I'm going to not even judge other people's operations. In my company, we try on the weekdays, we take short loads for an insane rate per mile, relatively speaking, and a good gross because this is where we make our money. We don't take, I know that some carriers take coast to coast loads all the time, like Washington to New York to California, California to Illinois, and that's the way they run. We don't. And I think there are quite a few people that don't. I also think that flatbeds, um, yeah, another thing is in Washington, it's always tarps regardless of weather. And I don't think a lot of people want to do that. Like, yeah. Uh, Florida isn't hot as last week, $2 per mile only to Northeast, but isn't good enough. Yeah, I understand that. Okay, this is sorry, I think that's a conversation happening within the chat, which I always love to see. It's amazing. It's always really nice. I was trying to find a truck as a Friday on a flatbed construction material going from a particular city in Virginia, going all the way to Washington. Nobody even considered. I had one Conestoga 45. Yeah, on Friday, it's interesting. I thought I thought, sorry, my phone is blowing up. I thought on Friday people are going to come out because it's after Blitz Week. It ended on Thursday. I don't think that happened. And I think that, honestly, I think that there is something happening with capacity right now. I'm so sorry, guys. I just need a reply to this really quickly. Sorry, there are like 3 things happening at once. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. uh, Sorry, guys. Do apologize. Priorities, right? Have to answer everyone. Okay, rates have been garbage for 4 years now. Just went up for the past 1 week. People are thinking real change will happen. I hope so, but we have seen pops in the market in the past and then it sizzles away. I completely understand that sentiment. Um, I honestly, I have a feeling. I have a feeling that something is happening, something is brewing. I don't see it. I know that during Blitz Week, you're always going to see some kind of increase in rates because, yeah, some capacity gets grounded pretty much and they don't want to risk it. I just, I have a feeling. I don't know how to explain it. um, okay, I think that's it. Conestoga had uh, that had 40-foot truck wouldn't take him, wouldn't consider, had a hot shot. Oh, you had a hot shot load. Spoke to the shipper. He wants to onboard me. That's got it. How much did it pay? That's my question right away. Hi from California, environmental services driver, super slow. Do you think the work will pick up soon? I hope so. I really hope so. Again, I have a good feeling, but like sometimes like you can't explain it. You just have a good feeling. And I'm hoping my intuition is kicking in because usually my intuition is pretty good. So I'm hoping this is one of those cases. Can I make 5K profit in a month with renting a driver? So in terms of profit, how much profit you're going to make, I can't answer that question because it depends on where you drive, how much do you pay your driver, what are your expenses like fixed and variable, what kind of fuel card do you have? Again, where are you running? What is your consumption? So it's very hard. And how much are you running? It all factors in. It's very hard to just answer. It's not so surface level. I am married, yes. But when I say us, I mean my company and the people in my company, but I am married. Thank you. I have a dry van and reefer. Looks like I need to get a flatbed. Actually, for dry van reefer, it would be the Midwest and some of the South, not all of it, but some of the South. For reefer, what's going to be good is California, theoretically, because of produce season. Yeah. What is your personal lifetime goal in trucking? Like, where do you see yourself in a couple of years? Look, my goal is to grow, right? That is my biggest goal. My goal is to grow. But I'll be honest with you, I mean, my trucking company is like my baby at this point because, yeah, I learned everything by building it. I was never in the trucking industry beforehand. So I learned everything by building this trucking company. So it's my baby. My goal is to grow to as many trucks as I can. My goal is also to close the loop, right? I don't want to be just a carrier. I want to also be a broker. That would be my goal. Close the loop, broker, freight forwarder, and maybe even import stuff. And we do have a chance possibly to do that because, yeah, I have someone who does know a lot about it. But I also want to look at technology. That's another thing. Also within the trucking industry, but I'm focusing on technology as well. That helps carriers. Yeah, it's a lot. 210 Wisconsin to Ohio. Got it. I got set up with 4 brokers during Blitz Week who denied me because I have not enough authority history. But during Blitz Week, they decide they need me thanks to DOT inspectors. Yeah, we're going to see more of that happening if capacity really does decrease. Especially if volumes go up, we're going to see a lot of brokers all of a sudden not following the crazy requirements that they have for setting up carriers. It's going to happen. It's all about supply and demand at the end of the day. Hauling dry van, mostly contract freight for me. How is contract freight right now? I'm curious. Any idea on a good load board? I've heard DAT is good, but wanted to get some other options. I've got DOFT, Truck Smarter, and Nextload. I've never used the ones that are not DAT that you listed. So DAT is good for things like dry vans and reefers. Trucker path. Truck stop is better for open deck trailers. Yeah, we use truck stop because we're only flatbed. Hi there. Secured load Friday, Memphis to NYC and Boston. Pick up again Boston tomorrow and deliver back in Memphis. 5,400 box truck load. That's pretty good for a box truck from what I know. What is the flatbed rate right now? It's going to depend on where you are. So I have booked my highest load. I mean, it was last week. I'll tell you right now. My highest paying load with Deadhead last week was in the South, and it paid $478 per mile. Yeah, that's with Deadhead. My second highest was 402 per mile, and third was 317 per mile, but that was all in the South. If you manage to get to the South with a flatbed and you manage to stay there, which is the hard part, yeah, that's pretty good. The problem is the weekend will always kick you out if you run the weekends. My current driver is power only and a lot of low rates out here in Northern California. Yeah, we don't touch Northern California or so we don't touch California, even though we're California-based carrier. We decided that that's it. We do not go to California. It's just crazy here, especially for power only. Real test will be after produce dries up. Yeah, I mean, right now it's going to definitely be masked by all those things, right? Produce season and dry vans being, because like a lot of people said, yeah, reefers, they can haul both reefer loads and some dry van loads. There's a misconception that reefers can haul all dry van loads. That is absolutely not true because the width of a reefer inside is smaller than a dry van because of the insulation. Plus, the reefer can haul less weight than a dry van because of the refrigeration unit. So not all dry van loads go on a reefer. However, during produce season, what happens is because there's such a demand for reefers, dry vans are now used. I mean, they now have more freight that reefers usually kind of steal from them, right? Not steal, but they take as well. Yeah, and sometimes dry vans are used for reefer friendly freight as long as it doesn't require some crazy refrigerations, but like vented vans. Or I remember when we were on dry vans during produce season, it was a lot of onions and we would haul them. And there was a requirement that, yeah, the rate was pretty good. But what you had to do was you had to stop every so often and open up the doors so that it would vent. Ben Osborne sent you a message on your website for some advice. I'll definitely, sorry, check my email. Hello. 228 for floor load reefer, 3 picks, 3 drops. Got it. I used to hate floor loaded things for reefers. I don't know why. I remember we used to, gosh, the coolest thing when we just started, we started with a reefer. I remember the floor loaded potatoes out of Idaho, and they got stuck between the like floor things on the reefer. I forgot what it's called. What is the floor called? And I remember we were delivering, I think it was Arizona, and they took the trailer and they just like lifted it up. It was so cool. Have you hired accountant for business or use QuickBooks? I use QuickBooks, but I do have an accountant. He's not a trucking accountant by any means, but he's just a regular CPA, and I help him out with the trucking specific things that are not part of his day-to-day. I wish so too. I know I get this comment a lot for a lot of different equipment types. The problem is there is no concrete data that actually says, okay, this is data for tanker. This is data for a sprinter or a cargo. This is a cargo van. This is data for a hot shot. It's all kind of blended together and you have no idea what this data is actually showing. Yeah. What do you think about insurance costs? North Carolina flatbed is high here. I think California has really high rates, not the highest in the country. We've been lucky. Our insurance has been pretty much like, if we look at liability and cargo together, it has been decreasing by minuscule amounts every single year. Knock on wood. Yeah. But in general, insurance costs are insane right now. Hi, Sam. Tariffs are killing us in Canada. Automotive manufacturers and transport companies are going out of business nearly every day. Yikes. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of bankruptcies here as well. A lot. I'm sorry, guys. I have to just reach out to someone one more time. Well, actually, no. He'll let me know. Day runs Midwest is best dry van. Yeah, I agree. For dry vans, flatbeds, I don't know about reefers, the day runs. It's pretty difficult with reefers considering the appointment times. Yeah. What do you think will be the criteria on English language proficiency? Look, I'm curious myself. That is a really, really good question. I don't know what criteria they're going to use to test it. I don't know how they're going to make it the same across all states, across all officers. I don't think it's going to be such a set in stone thing, just like a personal conveyance. Like, personal conveyance is up to the officer. It's at the discretion of the officer. I think this is going to be the same. I'm very curious on what they're going to actually, like what outline they're going to give, like what are they going to be looking for? What is the consequence? I mean, we know it's an out of service order, but what is the process of getting back on the road? This is something that's very interesting to me, but nothing there yet. Total crap day. Other people's incompetence or laziness adds hours of wasted time for me. So aggravated. I am so sorry. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I also noticed that a lot of the time, I mean, sometimes I just have an off day and I screw up completely. Happens to me. But there are often times where because of someone else, we are basically either wasting time or wasting money or wasting something else because of someone else's mistake. Today is actually one of those days as well. But I decided to just close my eyes and say, you know what? It is what it is. That's the way the trucking industry is. Gotta notice I'm losing my contracted lane next month for 5 of my trucks. Back to the spot board we go. Hopefully by next month, the spot market is going to be a little bit more manageable. I am so sorry that's happening. Did they find someone cheaper or what is their problem? Or did they expand their own fleet? You said CDLs age with time. I just want to let you know that they don't. It's about if you're using CDL or not. No, I completely understand that, but it's better to get it as early as possible and use it because you do, if you get it at the last minute, you're going to have problems with insurance, right? Reefer versus flatbed, what can net more in this market? It depends on how you operate, right? I hear about companies who net like crazy with reefers, not net. Net is a very different thing because net, it depends on the company operations and what your expenses are, where you're running, what is your fuel expense like. That is very case by case. But in terms of gross, I hear that there are some people who net more and earn more gross with reefers than flatbeds. Others earn more with flatbeds. It depends, right? Like I know of a company, I don't know them personally, but I have heard them speak about it, how they have flatbeds and they can't earn anything on them compared to what they can earn on a reefer. Whereas I feel like if I were right now controlling reefers, I'd be up Schitt's Creek pretty much. Dry van here, been doing nothing but LTL lately. Full truckload rates are just not worth it. But even with LTL, barely managed to grow 7,700 last week. You know what? I look at people who do less than truckload or partials with absolute admiration because that is something that I can't do. I tried it once and it was such a mistake because I couldn't find another partial and we ended up with a really crap load. Thank God it was light, obviously, but uh, I mean, it's amazing the people who can do that. That's fantastic. It's just not my strong suit, I suppose. T in Commerce City, Colorado has been full, no spots available all day. I can't load until Wednesday. Huh. I wonder why. I wonder if people are just thinking that they're going to take 2 weeks off instead of one for Blitz Week because they believe, some people say that Blitz Week, the one that's scheduled, is not the real Blitz Week. It happens a week after. Yeah, I'm wondering. You can't just sit on your CDL. Got it. When you move to Colorado, I don't think I'll move to Colorado. I was looking at it at one point. But yeah. I've been to Utah for the first time this year. My gosh, I fell in love with Utah. I fell in love with the people there. They're such amazing people. Just starting with a paid off 26-foot box truck in Central Texas, what should we expect rate per mile? So that is a question, Rachel, I'll ask everyone. For those who operate box trucks, especially in Central Texas, what is the average rate per mile? Because I don't have that data. Thank you so much. 26-foot box truck is gonna suck a lot right now. No, I did not have a hot shot. It was supposed to be a 53-foot flatbed with tarps from Virginia to Washington, and it was 39 to 44. No one considered this except for the things that you read. Got it. Yeah, with flatbeds, it's difficult to send them to the West Coast for sure, because the West Coast is dead for flatbeds and there's so much choice in the Midwest and the South. Yeah. Need to fix the 1938 overtime law, long overdue. I think they're working on something with overtime, right? Stay in trucking. Thank you. We're going to hate you. Uh, well, yeah, probably. It's interesting how that happens, right? Yeah, I'm not considering it at the moment, but ideally I would love to close the loop for sure. Thank you, Robert. Hi there, Tennessee. Love Tennessee. Love the loads from Tennessee. No speaking English, driving 10 years. What is happening with me? So you don't speak English driving for 10 years. I mean, yeah, looks like they're going to be cracking down. We just don't know how. We don't know the criteria, not criteria. We know what's going to happen. We just don't have all the details yet. Got a box truck contract, $2 per mile, 6 days a week. Can't complain. Amazing. I need to visit so many places, guys. I mean, I have to visit so many places. I know that I want to move out of California for sure because it's just not my cup of tea, even though it's absolutely beautiful. I do want to move out. I just don't know where yet. My other channel. Okay, let's try this again. Hi. Hi there. Oh, are you? Wait a minute. I saw your comment. I'm just very delayed, as always, as usual. Power only rates that I could see last week was 46 cents per mile for a load going from North Cal to SoCal. They did say you can use the trailer and get a load, but sheesh, this, yeah, no, that's crazy. Tracy, that's an insane rate per mile. How difficult is it for a new carrier company to book loads nowadays? I'm starting a new one, already had my DOT. It's, yeah, so what the difficult part is that the majority of brokers, the way it stands right now, they are so jaded by the amount of fraud that happened in this industry that they don't want to use new MCs that haven't been, subject to the audit or the inspections. They don't know who you are. There are certain ones like TQL, I know works with new MCs, although they will not give you like certain loads like ice cream, and they will not give you until you do like a minimum amount of loads with them. Doesn't mean it's impossible. There still will be brokers that do work with newer MCs. It's just the percentage is very small. That's the difficulty. Yeah, that is a very low rate per mile. That's crazy. Yikes. During one working week, Jurupa Valley, California to Michigan, 180, then Elkhart, Indiana to Vegas, 220, not happy at all, but going with the flow. Yeah, that's all you can do, right? Unfortunately. Thank you so much. Oh, with a flatbed. Yeah. No, that's why this is exactly why we try to stay away from the West Coast. Again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Is because out of the West Coast, it pays like crap. Absolute garbage. Hi y'all. I call dry van and refrigeration trailers, but it's what I started with. Yep, I started with a welfare wagon. Love it. Never seen your channel before, just out of curiosity. Do you drive or no? No, I do not have a CDL. I used to really, really want to get one. I am I'm part owner of a trucking company, and I am more on the compliance, like everything back office, anything that doesn't involve actually driving. That's me in the company. I really wanted a CDL, and I tell the story a lot, but then I sat in a semi truck, and I guess I'm afraid of heights, which I didn't know, considering that I'm a diver. But I sat in that truck and I freaked out because I felt like that truck is going to fall into the ditch, and I was so high up. Yeah, so definitely not my forte. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the support. Thank you, guys. Thank you. In Washington. Oh, this is the load that you posted? Got it. Yeah, again, like I said, it's going to be very hard in the beginning of the week, especially to get a flatbed to go to the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest. It's hard during the end of the week as well. A lot of like flatbeds will go to Texas. They'll even go to a place like I don't know, Amarillo, Texas, which is dead, just not the West Coast. Um, is running under my authority when it's age 6 months a good idea? You can try. Again, the hard part will be finding brokers who are going to agree to work with a 6-month-old authority. It's not impossible, it's just more challenging. Yeah, I always recommend starting working under someone else's numbers. Yeah, just because that is a guarantee of loads. I'm sorry, guys, something's wrong with my throat. Too much talking. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, operate out of Raleigh, and my insurance increased 100K from 300 to 400K. Wow, my gosh. It's the industry. I think it's the industry. They look at the industry and they see that, oh, there's freight fraud and we're at more risk. So let's increase the insurance prices for everyone. It's just annoying. Yeah. Can you explain what a non-domicile CDL? Yeah, absolutely. So a non-domicile CDL is when a person with a work authorization, so they're different people, right? They're citizens, they're permanent residents, green card holders. If they get a CDL, it's just a regular CDL because one is a permanent resident, the other one is a US citizen. Non-domiciled CDLs is when you hold a foreign passport, but you have something like a work authorization document, or you have an I-94, I believe it's called, in your passport, and you get a CDL to basically work in the US. That is a non-domiciled CDL because you hold a foreign passport and you are not a resident of the United States. So that's what a non-domiciled CDL is. I'm sorry, guys. I do have to write to one person. There's like an unloading disaster. Not a disaster, it's just freaking delayed. How much should I put on this load because no one wanted to do it? Was trying to get a quote, then I put a dollar amount on it. Still no one's doing it. And I heard a few minutes ago you say $4 and something with everything I've said because I can't send everything at once. It's very restrictive. How much should I run this? All right, guys. You know what? I'm not going to be the one to answer it. Let's get the public opinion. Sorry. So this gentleman has a load from Virginia to Washington. It has no extra stops. It is construction material for flatbed, obviously full load. And it's about 39 to 44,000 pounds. Virginia to Washington State, right? Full truckload construction materials. Does it have tarps? That's a question I didn't see if it does. But what would you need to move it? Virginia to Washington, especially like on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday on a weekday. Yep. Let's see what people say, Walter. Non-domicile CDL from insurance. That's another way to look at it. Non-domicile CDLs are a scam from insurance companies and mega fleets running hidden carriers. It's basically people who can't be found. After a tragic accident, nobody's held accountable. That's one way to look at it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna argue. But yeah, no, the crazy part is non-domiciled CDLs are not illegal by any means, according to the law. However, the amount of non-domiciled CDLs that are being issued is a little concerning. Ron Smith, hi. Yep, Walter, we'll get that question answered. I'm a little bit behind in my comments, but hopefully people are commenting already what they would need in order to run this flatbed load from Virginia to Washington. Hopefully. Oh, there we go. One gentleman said that he would need to do it for 275 per mile. I'm sorry, I'm looking at two different screens. One is where I am in the comments, and one is at the bottom. Yeah. Um, Towards the end of the summer, I usually park my flatbed and rent a reefer. Got it. That's a strategy. I love it. Uh, 19, you stop using it for a few years and then your previous years won't matter. Got it. Sure thing, Rachel. Hi, dissident. Example, I have 7 years of OTR experience. I took off 2 years and insurance looks at me as a rookie. Really? Now that's something I did not know. That is insane. Yikes. I think that's what they do with MCs as well, like brokers. When running partials, the first load booked has to cover your cost and book another freight to go with it. Yeah, that's what I made that mistake for sure. So I always have a hard time. Someone once told me that look for a smaller load that is considered a full truckload and book it and then find something else on the way. But yeah, no, I've never been. It's just like certain things I'm just not good at. Atlanta, Florida. I would love to come to Florida. I love the way it looks there. I've never been, but it looks so beautiful. And I hear that the best roads are in Florida. Hello, you mentioned tech. What do you think is missing that hasn't been developed or could be much better? I think there's a lot missing. I'm not going to go into detail because I'm working on something right now that will get better and better over time, just because I'm solving a problem that I have found in this industry, and hopefully it's going to be useful to other people as well. Coming soon. Stay tuned. Colorado, Florida, Arizona, and all West Coast have always been dead states for flat and step deck. Yep, agreed. What is the average gross for dry van in this market? Depends on operations. Again, it depends on how much people run, right? There are certain folks who run during the day, like day loads, and then they're not really OTR, and certain folks who don't run weekends. It all depends. But yeah, if anyone has numbers to share on a dry van, let us know. If you don't speak English, it's on your company and their DOT number. It's an out of service for them, and they will need 5 good inspections to bring up their score of 24 months. Basically, you're fired. Yeah, no, it definitely is, and it should be. If you are hiring someone who you know does not speak a word of English, cannot understand road signs. It's funny because when we started in 2019, I guess it was no longer an enforced thing, but that was something that was very important to me. Because when we started, I think I still have that green book. I actually went through it. I printed it out into a binder and I went through it, all of it. I am type A personality. So I remember paying very close attention to the fact that English is a very, very strict requirement. I did not know at that time that when we were starting, it was no longer an out of service order, but I read it. I saw it's a law. I was abiding by that law from the get go. And yeah, as a company, if you're not hiring someone who is safe, I'm a new authority. So far, most of the big brokers won't book a load with me, but I can normally convince the small ones to give me a chance. So I'll give you a piece of advice. Yeah, that's usually going to happen. Keep a reference list. As you book loads, keep a reference list of the brokers you have worked with, what their phone numbers are, what loads you hauled for them. That helped us in the beginning, even though we started in 2019, it was nowhere near the situation it is right now. But I remember those reference lists that help us, even with brokers who usually do not work or did not work with new authorities. I'm from Toronto. Any idea? Any idea about what? Hello, though. Welcome. Do you, Miranda, and Miranda Wrights have anything in common? Absolutely. It was named after me. Just kidding. Absolutely nothing. Love your channel, Miranda. Been watching your market analysis since you started off. They're always the best. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sometimes I get so bored with them, to be quite honest. But yeah, I have taken a poll a couple of times on this channel. Like, do you guys really need them every week? Yes. Okay. I'm here to do what you guys asked. um, I gave them a bit of 1,000, but didn't hear anything back from the broker. Yeah, usually that's what happens. And usually this happens when they have so much of a choice that they're convinced that someone, some poor person, is going to take it for 46 cents per mile, I believe was what you mentioned before. I enjoy your channel for a very long time. I got to get, but you're a very honest lady and very knowledgeable. Thank you so much. Have a good one. 10 large. What are we talking about? About the Virginia to Washington? DOT cops were all over in Indiana, pulling truckers over. Somehow I doubt they just wanted to chat and share their donuts. God forbid they should share their donuts. Yeah, Indiana is tough. Indiana and Missouri. I feel like there's some tough cookies out there. For sure. Okay. Yep. Walter, to Washington right now, I would do for 275 per mile. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have to sign an agreement with shipper. That is great news today, Virginia to Washington state. I'm guessing you're a broker. Yeah, it seems like that. Hi, gorgeous. I was stopped at Boise, Idaho, point of entry. And the fact of me being Latino, I was expecting different treatment, but it was the other way around. Officer was very respectful and professional. Well, I hope that people are respectful and professional at all times. Of course, this is unfortunately not always going to happen, but yeah, it's good to hear. That's always very, very important. I think in general, respect and professionalism is something that is lacking a lot in this industry everywhere. But since I'm in this industry, I notice it more, and it's from every single side. I don't see a lot of that going on. Even there was a time last summer, I would say, or no, last fall, where it seemed like the officers lost all of their ability to, or all of their manners. There was a moment where I was like, what happened to DOT officers? Why are they so mean? They were all just so mean. So, yeah, I always appreciate any professionalism. You don't have to be like smiling and nice, but be professional and be respectful, and you have my respect in return. I failed English 9 times in grade school. Now I'm scared. As long as you can, I think it's not going to be, hopefully, not like a grammar test. And what does this verb mean? And when do you use it? And is it this past, present tense and crap like that? I think it's just going to be have a conversation with the officer, make sure that you understand what he's saying or she's saying, and they understand what you have to say. I think that's going to be the extent of it. I became a CDL instructor at a trucking school for 2 years, and insurance companies do not count that as experience. That's crazy. I'm literally teaching people who only have CDL permits. How's it going with CDL schools, by the way, I'm very curious. I hear that a lot of CDL schools are struggling right now. What if there was no brokers? Then there would be a lot of direct shippers or a lot of contract rate. I don't know. Nico. um, any advice on purchasing a truck from someone who's still financing it? I had a truck that I sold that we were financing, and he took over the financing. Yeah, I have a very good relationship with one of our lenders, and it's not BMO. What are they called? Jesus, Crossroads. Have a very good relationship with them, and just struck a deal, and it worked out. It was a very long process, though, but there is a way to do it. Not looking good. Yeah. How's the intermodal freight in Minneapolis, Minnesota? I'll be moving there in July. Oh, that's a question for folks here who know, because I'm not as familiar with intermodal. Um, Trucking. Not, yeah. I mean, for some people, it seems like some people are saying that it's getting better, and some people are saying no. It's more of the same crap. um, I've spoken to the gentleman. He wants to onboard me. I asked him. He's definitely a shipper. Uh huh. Sorry. Let's see. Who is your ELT? Keep trucking. Motive. Uh, Great for me. I mean, this is going to launch through this company. um, so I'll go back and read any messages. Yeah, I think there was Walter, some one guy who said that he would be able to do such a load for 275. I think that's what I read. Yeah. Uh Hi everyone. Do you think my English knowledge qualifies for DOT based on the way you wrote? Yeah. I don't think it's going to be as I think people are making it a scarier thing than it actually is. I think it's literally being able to communicate and understand enough so that so you understand what is being told to you and so that the officer understands what you are saying. Yes, a lot of CDL schools are struggling and taking advantage of students. I'll email you about it. You know what? I heard there was a CDL school that one of my acquaintances went to, and that CDL school has now one student. There is no one else. No one wants to get a CDL right now, from what I hear. Uh, and yeah, it's interesting. Is it possible to book container with North Carolina authority to the port? That is a question for anyone who's familiar with that. I do apologize. I'm not as familiar. Sorry, I just got a migraine a little bit. Um, yeah, does anyone know? Is it possible to book container with North Carolina authority to the port? Crap, I hate when this happens. Sorry. What are the reefer rates this week? We'll go over it. I didn't do the market update write up yet. It usually takes me a couple of hours, but I will write it up on Wednesday. And on Thursday, we'll take a look at what's going on with dry vans, reefers, flatbeds. And we're going to, obviously, the data is a little bit delayed. So it's going to be for the Blitz week, but we'll take a look at what's happening there for sure. I did take a peek. I know that reefers and dry vans saw an increase, quite a significant one last week because of Blitz Week, whereas flatbeds saw a decrease in rates on the spot market. Hi there. Any info on tanker chemical side? It feels that work is getting slow. I wish I did. And again, if I find some kind of data that I can implement into the market updates, I will absolutely. But right now, what I see, it's all mixed into. I'm going to repeat myself here. It's something I mentioned yesterday on the live. Basically, like truck stop, there's data for reefer, dry van, flatbed, and then specialized. And I called them and I asked them, well, what does specialized mean? They're like, everything except for reefer, dry van, and flatbed. It makes it very difficult to kind of pull out the data that is applicable to like tanker or hazmat or whatnot. Yeah, but if I find something, I'll absolutely share it. Sorry. Uh, Earlier, you mentioned carrier company and also becoming a broker. Can you actually be both? Will it be legal having a DOT number and MC number twice? I believe DOT and MC is needed to be, yeah, you have to have an MC as a broker for sure. So basically, this is something I have to research. This is something that is not on my priority list. Becoming a broker is definitely not on my priority list. It's just something that someone asked, like, what is your long-term goal? I want to close the loop. I have to research it. But yes, you do need an MC number and a bond in order to become a broker. Yeah. How much on average do you run a mile? This month, I'll tell you. Where is my month? So this month, it's actually, hold on, there we go. 270 with Deadhead. This is my average. You're slacking, young lady. I covered all my trucks. What I'm supposed to be doing right now is coding. But then I decided I'd rather talk to people in the industry. I got it just took me forever to book loads today. And at some point, like my brain shuts off, and I know if I code something, I'll break the whole um, code that I already wrote. Just got my DOT physical this afternoon. I'm planning to start the process of getting CDLA South Central Texas. That is amazing. Good luck to you. That is fantastic. Sorry, guys. Yeah, best of luck. Best of luck to you, my friend. I'm sorry, what is going on? Okay. Reduce sugars and drink water. Hope you feel better. I know the curse of migraines. I get them very rarely. Yeah, I get them very rarely. I actually don't eat sugar at all. I'm keto, so I haven't had sugar in, I think it's been 3 years now. No sugar. Diet Coke. Zero sugar in everything. But migraines happens because I don't drink enough water. Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel fine now. It's just like I get sometimes it's not like a full-blown migraine. It's just a really bad, I think it's called a tension headache right here. It happens. Not a big deal. Survivable. All good. Um, okay. Do you have low clearance flatbed Conestoga? Ours is 106. We don't have a Conestoga. It's just a regular flatbed, 53 foot. Hazmat doesn't seem to pay as much attention. Hazmat loads, from what I see, they pay when I come across them. And sometimes there are hazmat loads, and you must have a tanker endorsement flatbed loads, which is very interesting. But they do pay better usually. Not as good as oversized though. Exactly. Also, good luck on tech. I'm looking forward to the announcement. I run software companies, so I understand the struggles there. Keep it up. Yeah, struggles are real, my friend. I'm having a lazy moment myself. Yeah, sometimes it's just, a lot of you guys know I am up and in front of the load board, regardless of where my trucks are. I'm always at the load board already at 5:30 a.m. And when it takes me 6-7 hours to book a load, yeah, I start going a little bit nuts, and I can't operate for the rest of the day. I still do like some things, like I'll research for the next video, I'll look at news, but then there were no news, nothing new. Everything was the same thing that we have discussed so many times. Like how many times, how many different videos can you make about English language proficiency or non-domiciled CDLs or this and that? So I decided, you know what, we're going to do a live and actually talk to each other. Owning trucks gives me a migraine for sure. Owning trucks and being in the trucking industry changes you as a person. That is something that I noticed. Um, it definitely changed me. I used to be, I feel like I'm still a very tolerant person in the sense where I will take a lot of bullshit from people before I finally tell them to go fly a kite. But my bullshit meter is much shorter now. Yeah, I used to be I feel like the way I tell my family is I used to be a very kind person. And now it's like I see people and I automatically feel like they're there to, you know, like screw me over. It's bad. That's what 3 years of this market does to you. That Diet Coke has more sugar, alcohols in them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I know that. I actually know that regular sugar is much better than the crap they add, the sweeteners they add to Diet Coke. I know this is my very, very bad habit together with vaping. I'm aware, but I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. So thanks for the 275 per mile. There we go. Do you think the regulations and policies are too much? Yeah. I think this is an extremely overregulated industry, and half of the regulations are absolutely unnecessary and ridiculous. I think it's very overregulated. And I think most of these regulations are, they fall on the shoulders of the truckers, which I feel like is unfair. They should not be, uh, the only ones that carry all of that. Sorry. We need double brokering rules to be enforced and updated. 100%. There has been a lot of stuff out about freight fraud, but I haven't really paid attention to that as much. But yeah, double brokering is a nightmare. What insurance do you recommend that is cheapest price? Well, at the moment, I can only recommend the one that I have, which is Benchmark. Cheapest price, I feel like Benchmark is the reason they're the cheapest for our operations, which is why we're with them. Yeah, so that's the one I really like at the moment. What things you take care of when you're on call booking load? What do you mean? What things do I take care of? Like, what do I do simultaneously? Have a lot of things that I do. So you have to be a multitasker for sure, because while I'm getting details on a load, the one that I call, I'm simultaneously calculating the miles and writing the load details or remembering them. And then I also have a program that I use to figure out how profitable is it going to be for us and the negotiation and all of that. And simultaneously, I'm looking at the load board to see what's coming out and what the rates are from other people. Yeah. Everyone has limitations for sure. Yes. No one, unfortunately, we're not robots. As much as I wish I was, I'm definitely not. Still a human being. I'm at the point of quitting. I know it sounds pessimistic, but I feel burnt out. I understand you like no other. I get it because I feel sometimes it depends on the day. There are days where I'm fine. I can take the crap that's going on. I can even take a couple of brokers, swearing my way, whatnot. I'm fine. And then there are days where I'm like, nope, I quit. So I get it. Привет. Привет, привет, как дела? Thank you for joining. Do you have any experience in trucking in Europe or only in USA? Only in the US. Yeah. My business partner has experience in Europe. He says it's a completely different animal, completely different money as well. But my experience is all in the US. Hi, True Trucker. Been at it since 2013, and I've never gotten the dreaded level 1 inspection. I'm like I love it. You know what? And funny thing, I had one of our team members. He's not with us anymore, but I always say he was the best ever. Incredible. We called him Superman. He has never been pulled in for a level 1, or I don't know if any inspection, but for the whole time that he was with us, I don't know if it was because he was always wearing his veteran hat. He's like one of those guys. He was never pulled in for an inspection. Anytime, and he was on a reefer, anytime he arrived to Walmart, whether it was like a day before or a couple of hours before, they unloaded him. I don't know what it was about him, but it earned him a nickname, Superman. Incredible human being. Absolutely incredible human being. One of the best people I had the pleasure of meeting and the pleasure of having on my team. Hello, just let you know that you do an awesome job. Thank you so much, Ted. I appreciate it. Do you think we'll ever have rate transparency? If I'm being honest, not to the degree that we would like, unfortunately. I don't see it happening. Yeah. I think the best bet for that is to go to direct shippers. I own my equipment free and clear, but still the rates make me stay home. Yeah, when you, I mean, at the same time, when you own your equipment and you don't have those horrific fixed payments with the current interest rates, yeah, I understand people who do that. I also understand, however, folks who do not own their equipment and are kind of shackled to their equipment and they have to run in order to not get that truck repossessed or, screw up their credit score or whatnot. Can't talk, need to get my diabetes and high blood pressure under control. Supposed to be on carnivore diet. Uh, wait, you're supposed to be on carnivore diet? I wonder. I mean, I'm not a dietologist, but I know that keto, that is protein. It's a lot of protein and a lot of fat. I know that keto, it's can actually it lowered my blood pressure, but it got my cholesterol higher until I was on keto for a while because at first it goes up and then it goes down. And in terms of diabetes, I heard something. My grandfather actually has diabetes. And I know that he's not allowed keto. The doctor told him that he is not allowed. So I'm wondering, again, I'm not a dietologist. I'm just sharing what I have heard. I'm working 3 times more for the same pay. Things are going to turn around soon. Hopefully, Dodge needs to get into the transportation industry. Yeah, for sure. This is a common feeling like you're working so much more for either the same or less than you used to. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I remember that booking loads for me used to be fun. If I took my time booking loads, it's because it was my choice. And now I'm forced to take hours upon hours to book a load because no one is raising their prices until it's like this close to pickup time. Yeah. Illuminati. Who is Illuminati? Where is Illuminati? How did you find drivers in the beginning? So I my bet the best one that I can recommend is the Truckers Report forum. It was fantastic. I found my best guys there. My bestest best guys, including Superman. He's not allowed to keto because the doctor doesn't want to lose a customer. Yeah, you know who believes in that? I have like one of my cousins. She is of the opinion that for sure doctors want to keep you sick. And yeah, there's so many opinions. It's so interesting to hear different opinions and learn from people. Anyway, I can't believe it. I actually got to the end of the comments. Yay, me. Anyway, guys, I think we can stop here. I really appreciate all of you joining me on this impromptu. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week with high rates. Yeah. Okay, last one. I made more in 99. I don't see our industry changing for the better for 5 years or so. The rates will continue to drop until drivers stand up for themselves. Yeah. And of course, okay, one more time, say no to cheap freight. Absolutely. This is very important. You're screwing yourself when you say yes to cheap freight. You're not screwing, I mean, yeah, you're messing up the market if a lot of people are doing it, but you're screwing yourself if you're saying yes just for the sake of keeping your wheels rolling and having the illusion that something is coming into your pocket. It's not. It's going away just as quickly and multiplied. So be careful with what you book. Always know your cost per mile, always know your cost per day, and know your expenses. And yeah, I'm going to leave you with that. Anyway, guys, see you in the next video. Hopefully, I will have something interesting for you in the coming days. And then we'll have the market update on Thursday. Bye, guys.